Welcome to the channel. My name is Tom and we're jumping straight into a new series I'm calling Digitally Decoded. The goal of this series is to break down technologies into deeper, more understandable pieces for you to get a better grip on what's going on or other tech-related topics in the world. With our first topic being Utah's new social media laws. Now, these laws will go into effect in the beginning of March 2024, but what could bring on the need for such regulation around social media? So what are these new laws that are going to be occurring in Utah? Now, to start out, we have SB 152, and what this will require is to obtain parental consent for people under the age of 18, as well as these platforms will have to add an age verification process to their platform. Now, with that said, there is another half to this. The second bill, HB 311, is prohibiting social media companies from using a design or feature that will cause a minor to have an addiction to their platform. With that, you can also collect damages for an addiction to the platform, whether it's a physical addiction, an emotional addiction, you can collect damages for that. Now, this does come with some other restrictions and rules, such as some of the other rules will be to make companies provide some more tools to parents, including being able to set account usage limits for their kids, be able to view posts and direct messaging of their kids, and these companies will also not be allowed to display targeted content or ads to minors, won't be able to collect personal information on minors, and they won't be allowed to display them in public search results. These new rules, paired with the curfew of social media, which will be from 10:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m., puts a lot of tools and power in the hands of parents. Now, with this, what are the penalties that come with these new rules? Basically, it'll be up to $250,000 per violation and an extra $2,500 per child exposed to these addictive features or a breach here. And to a company like Meta, for instance, who's worth $565.4 billion, this is kind of just the cost of doing business to an extent. I don't think these penalties are going to really adjust how the company like Meta is going to do things that greatly, when they're worth so much more than the fines can really do for damage. With all that said, all of these laws won't go into effect until March 1st, 2024, but until then, companies will have an opportunity to go through and lobby against these, change these, and possibly even fully block these laws into going into effect. The concern that brings forth these new laws starts with a concern for younger minds and the new studies every day that show a link to depression, anxiety, and loneliness from these platforms. People like Mark Zuckerberg have said before that this is an issue on the platform. It does seem to lead to that for younger people. Alongside how well advertising works on this same group, it's hard to say that even if you don't know what's happening to you, that these things need to be talked about, especially among the younger generation. And these companies have also shown that they'll routinely choose their own profits, their own interest over these users on their platform. With that, someone needs to be doing these discussions and bringing up how are we going to move forward with this issue that's arising very quickly. So with things like that, you have to ask yourself, should these be more controlled? Should information be more controlled on these platforms? Or at least more openly talked about? Should we be communicating this much better with this generation to help them make better decisions on these platforms? I don't think it's something they're going to understand right away. I don't think it's something at that age you're capable of understanding as much as you think you are. And there's got to be a better way to handle this than what's currently been done. Then this is great, right? Why shouldn't you have access to what your kids are doing online? You're responsible for that kid, you pay for that kid, and you want what's best for them. And this puts the tools directly in your hands to help them with that. By limiting social media, you can help manage the effects these platforms are having on your kid. Not so fast though, because while this is great, you do have the alternate effect of this. If you as a parent choose to limit your kid or not let them sign up, not let them use a social media platform, this could alienate them if other parents choose to let their kids use it. If your kid's the one left out, that could cause just as much emotional or mental distress as using the platforms in the first place. And especially with platforms like YouTube being included in social media, that is a massive learning resource to lose access to and not be able to use. So what really is the right way to deal with this problem and be able to help our kids use these platforms? especially with new technologies being born every day, and technologies like AI that are growing super fast as we're watching it right now. Having access to these platforms is almost essential to learning how to use them so that they don't get left behind later on in life when these are the mainstream way to do things. With both sides of the coin kind of mentioned here, and with other states thinking about implementing similar laws to this, how do we ensure that these laws or rules will be well done and will make sense for the platforms and be what's best for us? What do we actually end up doing then? Because these can't be the end all be all. These aren't going to be perfect. So how do we ensure that these social media companies are held accountable or are doing things in a way that's safe and in the best interest of our kids? What I think we need to see happen is we need to see something similar to how AI is being dealt with right now, where we have both sides talking it out, doing things openly so that everybody can see what's happening, and then they need to come together, both for and against these laws in social media, these rules in social media, and they need to work together to come up with a solution that not both agree to. They both need to dislike it a little bit. We don't want either side liking it more than the other, and I think the best result you can end up with is not one that both agree on, but one that both are okay with, but not happy with. And with that, I think we can work together to make rules and guidelines for these companies to follow that are just general staples that they need to be doing to help our kids with mental health. And even adults. Adults also will struggle with technologies like this. Another thing that we could see happen is something similar that Elon's talked about doing with Twitter already, open sourcing the algorithm, putting that stuff out there so everyone can see this is how it works. This is, maybe not everyone will understand it, but at least people can write about it and make it more understandable for the general public to see how these things really work. How do these platforms function? What gets the ad that I'm looking at to show up on my screen? What gets this person to get recommended to me? How does it all work together to make something? Open sourcing stuff like that would be another great place to start, and I'd love to see stuff like that happen. With all that said, I hope you guys understand Utah's new social media rules a little bit better, how they work, if they're gonna actually end up being here. And with that said, if you think that any one of these rules has gone too far, if you need more clarification, let me know down below. And what are your thoughts? What are the ways that we should be trying to work with these platforms to make a more reasonable standard or agreed to standard that not all sides are happy with? Like, we need to come up with some way to do this because it's having a huge effect on our population and especially our younger group of people, and we need to figure out how to deal with that. With that said, if you enjoyed this digitally decoded episode, also let me know down below. Leave a like if you really enjoyed it. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Brain, fart, go away. Come again some other day. Brain, not very good. Try again. It's no good. We were going like this with the takes. They were going so good. And then we just... I think we did it. We did it!